Okay, so good morning. Welcome to Yoga Hour. Our word of the day is juggle. In life, we are, of course, always juggling different aspects. And sometimes we do that better than other times, right? I'll speak just for myself. I sometimes do that better times. And as ever, I relate it back to time on the yoga mat. Every single time we start a practice, we go through centering, we go through warm-ups, we start to add some movement and breath together, and then things slowly but surely get a little bit more complex. In Yoga Hour, the whole frame of this type of practice is meant to be both doable and difficult. And so as we go, most of the things we do broken down piece by piece are doable. And then other times we start to get into the extra layers and juggles of the poses, and they're more difficult. And so we have the choice. Do I want to do that or not? Do I want to try it here today? Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. And that's just all a part of how we relate back to our daily life. So we'll see what happens today. For frame of reference, I'm going to try to stick pretty close to the script of Yoga Hour Sequence 3 from Darren Rhodes. This is a sequence that I have taught many a times, and I usually go off script, but in the terms of trying to juggle, I'm going to try to stay right on script. Bring the palms together and thumbs to the sternum. And we start by quieting the breath, quieting the body. Take away the multitasking, take away the juggling, just one ball in the air here to start, and it's your breath. Inhale fully, exhale completely. Let everything else go. One ball, inhale fully. Exhale completely. One more time. And then release the hands and open your eyes. Come over to all fours. From all fours, hands under the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, do cat pose. It's very specifically not cat and cow, just cat pose. Release the head, press down through your hands and knees, round the back. Pull your navel up into the spine. So it's one pose, one thing, lots of different directions. You choose how many of those directions you can juggle at one time. Do this for one more breath. And then come back to a neutral spine. Look slightly ahead of your hands. Pull the knees together and then lift the right leg up and back. Flex your foot and point the toes down to the floor. Think of pulling up on the inner thigh as you rotate the outer hip down. Extend the left hand out in front of you. Look past the left fingertips, stretch out maybe 1 or 2 inches longer. And then lower the hand down, lower the knee down. Lift the left leg up and back, flex the foot, point the toe down. Same work, navel strong in towards the spine so you have a nice neutral and engaged core. And then extend the right hand out in front. Lower the hand down, lower the foot down, and turn your hands around 180 degrees. Make your fingers face towards your knees. your hands don't go all the way around, just turn them as much as they do. Rock very slightly forward and back here. We're looking for a good strong stretch through the forearm and a little different take in the wrist and fingers as well. It's asking you for a little more grip strength and certainly flexion there in the wrist. All right, we turn our hands back around. Have a seat on your heels. Take the arms overhead, interlace, flip the palms, and stretch up. Push through your thumb and your first finger. I specifically picked this sequence because the warm-up is very much not linked. It's one thing, let it go, and then you do the next thing. So just think one juggle, one ball in the air here, press through the thumb and first finger. Don't let it be overly complicated. And then we'll release the arms and come out to plank position, top of your push-up. Here at the top of your push-up, press down through your inner hands, pull out through your outer hand, and pull the heel of your hand back towards your toes. All of that should just keep getting a little more interesting and gaining strength in the core. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Add a push-up in. Down, up, downward facing dog. And let's do that 4 more times. So come forward to plank pose. You can start to go at your own pace. It's down, up, and down dog. Full plank. Tricep push-up is elbows straight back and squeeze them into your side. Do 5 total rounds of this down dog and push-up. I'm at 4. Use your breath to help you along. Stay in downward facing dog. After the 5th, take another breath in and press it out. Come back to plank. And slowly lower all the way down to your yoga mat. As you lie on your belly, reach your hands back behind you. Turn the palms to the sky. Lift everything that you can up, up, up. Squeeze the heels in and squeeze your glutes strong. So much of the movement, opening and strength from the core is going to come there from the glutes. Lower it all the way down. Press back to child's pose for a moment. Take 2 breaths here. And then I want you to lie down on your belly again. Start where you did before, hands back behind you. Lift it all the way up. Now, keep knees apart, but bend the knees and take your feet together. Keep trying to lift from your thighs and move the hands behind your head and give a slight press of the back of the head into the fingertips. Lift, 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 and release it all the way down. Press back to child's pose, 2 breaths. As much as you can, go back to juggling less rather than more. Downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Meaning, when you have those breaths in child's pose, try not to worry about anything that came before or after. Step the right foot forward into low lunge. So you're going to take as long of a step as you can, and then keep working until your knee is over the ankles and walk your hand up to the front thigh. Palms together and twist. Set the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Press the right hand down into your left hand and point the right elbow up to the sky. All of that will help tone and turn the belly. Inhale, come out of this pose, set the hands down, step back to downward facing dog. Think just down dog, take a full breath in, empty it out. Step your left foot forward in between the hands. Get all the way through there in your stride and then walk the hands up to the front thigh. Add the twist, palms together, right elbow to the left. You can stay more lifted or lock it down against the outer thigh. Concentrate on moving the hands closer to the center line of the body, and that might help through the deeper twist. Okay, as we untwist, this time I want you to step forward, both feet to the front of your mat. Feet together, but bend your knees deeply. Interlace the hands behind your back and lift the arms up to the sky. That for me often gets difficult. You can just release the hands, do the more doable version. Round the back, still keep the head down towards the knees and in a squat-like position in the legs. Maybe more like chair pose, I should say. Stand all the way up and reach the arms to the sky. Hold on to your left wrist and lean to the right side. So crescent pose here as you stand tall. Inhale, bring it back to the center. Hold on to your right wrist and up and over to the left. Still squeeze the glutes, press down into your feet so you have a steady base. Inhale, come back to the middle. Take the arms straight out in front of you. Make the palms face in towards each other. And we go back to that chair sit. Bend into the knees, sit low into the thighs. Squeeze the legs in towards each other. And as you squeeze the legs, it'll make for a stronger pelvic floor and abdomen. One more breath like this. And then stand all the way up, arms back to the sky. Release the arms down by your side. Give it all a shake. Let everything drop for a moment. Just breathe. All right, that's officially the warm-up. We're gonna get right into our standing poses here. Tree poses first. So stand anywhere that works for you to have some good steady balance. Press down through the right leg and take your left foot into tree pose. It can be anywhere along the line of the leg, above or below the knee. Work to point the toes straight down and the knee straight out to the side. Lift your arms up to the sky. Lift, lift, lift. Keep pressing down through your feet and reach up to the fingertips. One side at a time. Release the arms down, release the foot down. Good, so nothing super fancy there, just finding steadiness through the feet and through the legs. Second side. You can always hold on to a wall, a chair, something that's close by to find more steadiness in the balance and make it more doable, or enjoy the challenge of balancing without the extra prop. Press the foot into the leg and the leg into the foot. And then release the arms and release the legs. Nice job, guys. Come back to the front end of your sticky mat. Mountain pose. Extend the arms down by your side with the palms turned in. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the right foot forward and step your left foot back into a low lunge. Spin the left heel to the ground. Before we do anything else, look down at your feet. Try to line up your front heel to a straight line back to the back heel. And then come upright. So when we know we've got that foundation steady, it makes adding on more pieces a little easier. Warrior two, open the hips and shoulders to the side, but then turn your gaze over the front fingertips. Now I want you to bring your back hand to your left hip. And with this hip open, how can you rotate it slightly more forward? So turn on the back toes until you start to feel the hip rotate more towards the front short side of the mat. Once that is done, lift the arms up to the sky. Rebend the right knee a little bit more. At the same time, though, push back into your left outer heel. And you're in warrior one. Stay here, breathe here. Next breath, lower the hands down to the mat, step back to plank position. Hold at the top of your plank. If you want to juggle a little bit more, add a new push-up in there. Everyone into downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward to the front end of your yoga mat. Spin the back heel down. Again, steady foundation. Line up heel to heel. And then as you come up, look to the long side of your yoga mat. Extend the arms out in either direction. Gaze out over the front fingertips. The deeper you sit into the front thigh, continue to open through the left knee, the front knee. And then from warrior two, we go to warrior one. Place the right hand to your hip so we kind of see all on its own, just the one piece of the juggling. Right toes turn more in, back hip turns more towards the front, and then arms up to the sky. A lot of the same, a little bit different here between warrior two and then warrior one. Lower the hands down, step back to plank. Add in the push-up. Go to downward facing dog. This time, take the right leg up into the air for three-legged dog. And then pull the knee into your chest. Hover forward like plank pose, but now just one leg is added up. And step the right foot all the way through. Go back to warrior two, so you know that one. Back heel down, open up, long side of your mat. This time, left hand comes to your hip, but then slide that hand further down your back leg. Flip the right palm to the sky, lift up and lift back. Look at your back hand. A lot of times we look up to the sky here. I want you to stay really open through the torso and hips and shoulders. So we're gonna look down. And again, rotate, cartwheel through, low lunge to plank. Add in a push-up or don't. And then downward facing dog. Again, like how much do I need or want to juggle right now? Lift the left leg up. Pull the knee into your chest. And then forward, plank pose. Step it all the way through. And do warrior two. Back heel down, come on, upright. Bring the right hand to your hip. And then slide it down and look at your right hand. Then it's just front hand, palm up, reach towards the sky. So it's a side body bend rather than thinking about this being a back bend. Right ribs coming closer to the right hip here. Cartwheel all the way out of it, go back to your plank. Add in the extra piece of the push-up or don't, and do downward facing dog. From here, bend your knees and walk your hands backwards to your feet. Bring the hands to the hips, point the elbows to the sky, press down into your feet, come all the way upright. Good, we're just gonna keep adding on little pieces. I like to start in the center of the mat for this. It's a balance series. Standing locust into warrior three. So start in chair pose. Bend the knees and take the arms upright. And then try to bring your torso as parallel to the floor as possible. So a little more down. And reach the hands back rather than forward, palms up to the sky. Okay, so this is the frame of the pose. And then we're just gonna try to balance on one leg rather than two. So lean all of your weight into the right foot and tap your left leg back behind you. Still doable? Here's the difficult version. Lift the left leg up, squeeze your left glute a lot. Still working for you? Fly the arms back out to the front. Make like a T shape in your body for warrior 3. And then bring the hands back to the hips, tap the back foot down, step it in. Stand up for one breath, get out of those legs. Then we go right back into chair pose. So for me, when I take life on and off the mat in these stages, rather than thinking about the last stage first, it just makes it much more doable. Hands back behind you, tap the right foot back. Like, oh yeah, I got this, okay. Now, try lifting the right leg up. Maybe, maybe not, but I know what it's gonna take to get me there. Arms forward. And then take the hands back in, tap the foot down, stand up. Good, shake out the legs. Okay, eagle pose is next. It also starts from chair pose. Arms to the sky, bend the knees. We'll add the arms first, right elbow under the left. And then try to hold your hands. And if that doesn't feel great in the shoulders, then hold your shoulders instead. Yeah? Lift the right leg up and over. The higher you cross the leg, the easier the second cross is. The importance of the second cross is less important than the first. So squeeze the thighs in first. Worry about that. Be as upright as you can, shoulders back in line with your hips. Let go of your leg. Let go of the arms, reach up. Go back to chair pose. Second arm, left elbow under, cross back to the hands. Left leg on top. Again, cross as high on the thighs as possible if you're going for that second wrap. Second wrap is big toe down against your Achilles heel to the best you can. This pose tends to tilt us forward. Try to engage the core and be more upright. Squeeze everything into the center line. Pick the instructions and the pieces that work for you. Unwrap the legs, unwrap the arms, lift back up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, touch down to the ground. And do make all 10 fingers touch the ground, which means bend the knees to make it happen as needed. Give yourself a few breaths here. Again, try to go all the way back to just breath. Don't worry about the other pieces. Just breathe here. Then as needed, change the orientation on your yoga mat so that you can take a wide stance with your toes straight ahead and your heels straight back. Keep walking the hands in line with your feet and head down to the floor. Wide-legged forward fold. This is Prasarita Padottanasana. If the top of your head indeed touches the ground, you can let it settle there. Or a little more challenging option would be to take your feet closer together so that you have more length, more stretch. We do want a nice load in the legs. That can happen with some bend in the knees or with straighter legs. For today, have as much weight forward in your toes as you have back in your heels. So try to settle right into the center. Bring the hands to your hips, press down into your feet, and come all the way upright. Stay right there in the legs. Extend the arms out. Turn your right toes towards the short side of the mat. Reach to the right, triangle pose. Take right hand down and left arm up. Sometimes I work on mirroring you guys. I am not doing that today, so just follow and make sure we do two sides. That's all that matters. Okay, I want you to take your top hand to your hip. Look down at the floor. Remember in Warrior One, we scooched the back toes in. We're trying to do that again here. So I might need to heel toe into a slightly shorter stance and then let the left toes point more towards the way of the right leg. Now switch your hands. Left hand down, right hand to your hip. So now we're mostly focused and looking down at the right leg. From here, you stay and work, stretch as much as possible through all the limbs. Perhaps add a twist of right hand to the sky. So revolve triangle pose. Pravritta Trikonasana. Switch the hands again. Right hand down, left hand to your waist. Open up the back foot and hip again. Extend the left hand to the sky. Stand all the way up. Good. Let's try it on the second side. So turn the right toes in, turn the left toes all the way out. And then triangle pose to the second side. Left arm down, right hand up. Extend from the hips out to the head, from the shoulders out to the hands. And then switch the hands. Right hand goes to your hip. And as you do that, rotate the hip a little more down towards the floor. And then right hand to the floor, left hand to the sky. As much as you can, tuck your bum underneath you. Don't let it stick out towards this left side. And switch the hands again, back to regular triangle pose. And then stand all the way up. Feet parallel to one another. This time, make the fingertips touch, step or jump all the way in. We've got one more chair pose here, arms to the sky, bend the knees, sit into your legs. Good, try to lift the torso as much vertical as you can now. Look to the fingertips or beyond. Nicely done, yogis. Stand all the way up. Release the arms, let it go into a good shake. Whew, we keep cruising along here. Come up to the front end of the mat. Forward fold, fingertips to the ground. Make the legs as straight as they'll go, keeping that connection. Keep the right foot forward, step your left foot back into a low lunge. And then lower the left knee to the ground. I'm going to take the top of the left foot down as well. And I put some pressure into the top of my left foot so that the back knee doesn't have to be overly weighted. Then rise up, arms to the sky. And if you're thinking that's one extra ball that I cannot juggle with the hands up, sometimes it gets a little catchy in my low back, try hands down instead, and that might be where you can juggle. For all of us here, lower the hands down either side of the front foot. Keep looking down and take the energy and movement of your body down and forward here. Pull the back heel, left heel towards your butt. Keeping left heel in towards your butt, lean some more weight onto the left hand and look over your right shoulder. So opposite hand and foot here, reach your right hand back to hold on to your left heel and pull it a little closer into the body. If it's still okay, bend the left elbow, and that'll give you some more room to rotate in the torso. Look up, even feel as though you're leaning back a little bit here. I call this one twisted monkey pose. And then slow release of the back leg, all the way into your low lunge. Step forward, left foot to the right. Standing forward fold is Uttanasana. And then those two poses on the second side. So it's left foot forward, step the right foot back. Good, lower the right knee down, top of the foot. And again, I'm using some weight in the top of my right foot to not only stretch through the ankle, but so I don't have as much weight on the back knee. Come up, hands to the hips, decide to stay there, or take the arms and stretch up higher. Actively engage the legs, squeeze them in towards each other, front to back, side to side, in. And then lower the hands down, either side of the front foot. More difficult variations here. Pull the right heel in towards your seat. Take your weight towards the right hand. That should give you some leverage to find left hand to the back foot. If the hand catches hold, pull the heel in even closer to your outer sit bone. Tone and turn the belly, look up towards the sky, maybe a little bend in that bottom elbow so that the right shoulder moves backwards in space rather than getting locked forward. Okay, slow release out of this. Let's take it back to plank position, so top of your push-up here. More simple shapes for a moment. Do downward facing dog. It can be nice to really dial it back. Take a few breaths, take a few moments in this pose. 2 hands, 2 feet on the ground. Okay, and then we start juggling a little bit more again. Take the right knee towards the right wrist. Good old pigeon pose. Most of us know this. Walk the left leg back until a lot of the left thigh is on the ground. You can use your hands right against the floor to help you and be upright. So this is similar to the pose that came before. We're just in a different starting shape in our legs. I want you to take your hands to the inside of your right thigh and then pull the left heel towards your seat. So the pose before we did opposite arm and leg. This one is the same. So it's left hand to the left foot, thumb on the big toe side. Good. It stays just like this, or you bend the elbow, rotate it up to the sky to take it into a deeper quad stretch. And then you're adding the twist of the torso, the hips, the shoulders, back towards the front of the mat, if that is allowed in your body. Still good. More difficult position here. Slide the crease of your elbow to your big toe. And take the right arm to the sky and link it back to your left fingertips. Slow release. That one's called mermaid pose. Let it go. Go all the way back to downward facing dog. All right, so the second side knows where we're going. But don't let that jump ahead so much that you forget the first stages. So pigeon pose first. Left knee towards the heel of the hand. Left heel towards the right hip, and then you walk the back leg out. So maybe you are staying here, right? It's like, how many of those pieces of the puzzle are good for you to add today? One side might be different than the next. Right heel in towards the sit bone. And then we're gonna try to reach back, thumb, like hitchhiker hand, thumb up on the big toe side of the foot. Once you have that hold, the elbow is likely down to the ground. We're gonna bend the elbow and point it up to the sky. It takes a rotation in the hand. Rotate in the hips and the shoulders. If all of that is happening, only if all of that is happening, you try the mermaid grip. Slide the crease of your elbow into the big toe and lift the left hand to the sky. Maybe fold back, catch the hands. And I am leaning my head into my left upper arm bone here. Stay where works for you. And then slowly come out of the pose, all the way back to downward facing dog, where you can take a few clearing breaths. Come forward to plank pose. Listen to this one, 8-angle pose. We bring the knees down. Belly is staying lifted, but chest and chin go down. I like to think of this like a little grasshopper ready to take off. So we've got our butt in the air, elbows in the air right against the side. From there, slide the belly flat against the ground. Peel the chest up for cobra pose. Child's pose, press the hips back. Remember, think just breath here. And then come all the way upright. I always like these sharp, full contrast where we're gonna sit all the way down. Really let it think of this as a total reset. Lie down onto your back. So if the prior few poses had gotten way more towards that difficult line of juggling, it's like, all right, let me reset, lie down, find the supine position. Ready to go. Press down through your feet, shoulders and head, and lift your hips up. Squeeze in the glutes. And keep lifting the hips, the thighs, and the chest high. Interlace the hands underneath you and walk the shoulders up and in. Keep the hips lifted, keep your butt strong, and start to just scooch your feet out in front of you, making the legs straighter. They might not go all the way straight, but we're thinking about building a longer bridge here. Push through your big toes as much as the rest of your foot, and then scoot those feet back in right underneath the knees. Lower this all the way down to the ground. Pull your knees into your chest here. Nice strong squeeze. Take the hands underneath your hips, underneath your butt for a lot of support. More challenge, take the hands behind your head. And then everybody, feet straight up towards the sky. If your hands are behind your head, you can also add one more challenge. Head and shoulders off of the mat. Take your pick, and then everyone together, slowly lower your legs until they're a few inches above the ground, and lift them back up to the sky. Do it 5 more times. Go slow here. Lower down and up. You can lower one leg at a time to make this more doable. If you are a newer mama, still working on contracting the diastasis recti, you want to go one leg at a time. We are going 2 more times here. Slowly down, slowly up, slowly down, slowly up. Pull the knees into your chest. Nice strong squeeze. Release your legs all the way down. Here's another reset. Turn onto your belly. So total flip over. All right, so if we flip over and have our hands out in a T shape, one at a time, I want you to take that palm down underneath your body so that you're literally kind of like lying on your arms. Hands down, palms to the floor. And you can go face down or chin down to the mat. Lift your right leg up, stretch it back, and set it down. Like the pose that came before, you can keep doing this one leg at a time, or we're going to give this a go, 2 legs at a time. Lift as high as you can. Roll the shoulders forward and down, and lower it all the way to the ground. Oh, I always feel like I just need to laugh at myself there. Release the arms and push back to child's pose. Not an easy thing. From child's pose, sit all the way back onto your heels and take your right hand to the sky and give yourself a pat on the back for the ridiculousness of the pose before. And then we're going to take the other hand first. Hold on to your elbow. Make sure it's straight up towards the sky. And you keep doing either that or the hand goes behind your back. If it's behind your back, we're going palm open. And it tries to crawl, crawl, crawl to make the fingertips touch. Still, right elbow straight up towards the sky. Left elbow straight down towards the floor. Okay, bottom arm releases first, and then the top arm. Left arm high. Give yourself a pat on the back. Take the other hand to help the left elbow stay straight up and really close into your face. Stay and work there, or take the right hand behind your back. Again, palm open and crawl up. I often find my hand only on one side. You can hold on to like shirt or something in between. Air works as well. Left elbow straight up, right elbow down if it's behind your back. Okay, work the arms out and give it a little shake. Okay, the next pose is peacock pose. I think it's similarly ridiculous, and so we just have to go into it with the best attitude. Here, I'm going to take my glasses off. Turn so you're on the long side of your mat, and have your knees about mat width apart, and then I'm sitting on tucked toes here. Yeah? Arms out in front of you, turn the palms up to the sky. So eventually in this pose, why it's called peacock or Mayurasana, is that we're thinking about our legs being the fan of a peacock and the beauty of that, right? But we have to get down in the upper body to make the legs lift. So we're going to shove the elbows and like really shove the elbows into your gut. Once the elbows are in your gut, you turn the hands, fingers towards your toes, down to the floor. Like a little bit in front of your knee line, yeah? And then round your back. Remember that cat pose from the beginning of class? You can start to see how all of this juggles together. Head down to the ground, and you're doing that little round in your back, a bit like cat. And still, elbows are into your gut. Okay, if all of this is still working for you, walk your feet back like they're in plank pose. Knees off of the ground. Lift your head up. In some crazy world, we go longer in our arms to get the weight into the heel of the hand. Ooh, and the toes come off of the ground, and you balance there. And the toes are fluttering like the beautiful peacock tail. Yeah, I'm looking at y'all just like you're looking at me. That's crazy, right? Release. Shake out your hands a little bit. It's a fun one to practice. Lie down onto your belly, flat down. We'll do less crazy things now. Bend both knees. Take your hands, hold onto your feet. Lift everything that you can up away from the mat. Part of the reason I think we do those crazy poses is because in any other class, I think that this is a hard pose. And then it's like, oh, right. Okay, I've got it. And then release down. Give yourself a breather. And change to downward facing dog. I'm not gonna lie, I'm going a little off script now. I'm starting to change a few things from this sequence. I think it benefits all of us. Side plank, right hand, outer edge of the right foot, stack the feet, lift the left arm to the sky. Pull your left knee into your chest. Again, like how much are you adding on or not? If that's working, hold on to your foot and stretch your left leg straighter up towards the sky. Do it or don't. Juggle it or don't. Lower it all the way down, go back to downward facing dog. And then take left hand, outer edge of the left foot, stack the feet, lift the right arm to the sky, side plank. This is hard, stay and work there. Or more fancy pieces, right knee towards the chest, hold on to your leg and try to stretch it up. Vashisthasana. Then go all the way back to downward facing dog. We're only there for a split moment. Okay, take your knees right behind the heel of your hands so you have room behind you. And I want to take our feet slightly wider than our hips and try to sit all the way down, butt to the floor. If your butt doesn't go to the floor, sit on a yoga block or bring your feet together and sit on your heels. If this works for you, I want your heels right against your body. The knees can always go slightly wider than the hips, but heels in, so you've got that fully closed knee joint. If that works, take the hands back, lift the chest. If it works for your body, you go down as evenly as possible to your forearms. Maybe you lie all the way down to your shoulders, back of the head to the mat. I like to stay here. If you're all the way down as evenly as possible, meaning not just leaning to one side to make it happen, you try to come upright. And then we all try to come upright. Switch the hands back to the front. Lift the hips and do downward facing dog again. Now, can you walk your feet, not your knees, but your feet all the way to your heel of the hands? And then bend your knees, bend your elbows, and set your knees as high up onto the arms as you can. Press down into the inner hand for balance and support, and lift 1 or 2 feet off of the mat in Bakasana, crane pose. Tap your toes back down. Sit flat on your feet, turn the toes out, hips down to the ground in your yogi squat. Malasana, yogi squat. We're gonna try to change this yogi squat. I've got my feet wide here. I'm gonna lift up until I can heel toe the feet together. Do that. Take the hands back down, and then you lift your heels up like you're in a releve and sit your butt down again. Feet together squat, hands out in front of you. If you have a longer Achilles heel, you might have your heels down on the ground here. I don't, mine are lifted. You just try to weight where you can. And then out of all of that, we get to go back to downward facing dog. Just change your feet until you're in downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank pose. Lie flat down onto your belly. Roll over onto your back. We're almost in our cool down, not quite. Let's go for one more big movement, okay? Stretch your arms overhead. Reach, reach, reach. So we'll juggle all of the parts here one more time. Soles of the feet to the ground. 2 options. It's either bridge pose or full wheel pose. Either one starts in the legs. So we'll do that first together. Lift your hips up for bridge pose. Squeeze the glutes in towards the center. Okay, you stay there, or take the hands behind your head. It's that flip of the wrist again. We've done it a few times. You want to be able to see your elbows in your peripheral vision. I can never talk once I start going up. So from there, you press through the hands to lift to the top of the head, and then straighten the arms to get the full wheel shape. Do your best, bridge pose or full wheel. From full wheel, keep pressing through the hands to pull your chest through. And when you are done, tuck the chin. Everyone come back down and pull your knees into your chest. Good squeeze. Hold on to just your right knee. Extend the left leg down. Extend the right leg straight up into the sky. And take the right leg out towards the right side. The left hand can come out to the side for a little counterbalance. Take the right leg back up to the sky, rebend the knee. A twist here, take the right knee over towards the left side, extend the right arm out. And bring it all the way back in and switch sides. Hold the left knee into your chest, give it a good squeeze. Extend the left leg straight up towards the sky. Take it out to the left side. Okay, bring it back in. Bend the knee. Take the left knee over towards the right in your supine twist. We are cooling down, guys. We're almost there. I always feel accomplished at the end of a yoga hour class. There's so much that goes on within the class. I hope it lets you take on the rest of your day better as well. Pull the knees back into your chest. We're going to come upright for one seated stretch. I want you to take a straddle stretch here. So wherever you can, take the legs wide. I like to sit at the back of the mat and try to aim the heels towards the top corners, something like that. Flex your feet, point the toes and knees straight up towards the sky. And then either support yourself to stay upright. Think of the bowl of your pelvis. We want it to rock forward and down as much as possible. So for some of us, that's support behind to stay upright. Or if you have a little bit more mobility, you come forward and down. But in either case, we don't want the cat rounded back. We want to think of a long, lengthened spine here. So stay upright or forward, whichever makes that possible. Press down through your heels, the calves, the back of your legs here. Okay, and bring it back upright. Squeeze your legs together. Seated forward fold with your legs straight out in front. Again, we're looking for long, lengthened spine, and then we're just closing the angle as you come belly closer to the thighs. If your chest and belly come all the way down to your legs, that's when you start to slowly round the spine. To gain most of the stretch in the legs, you keep them straight. To gain a little more stretch in the spine, bend your knees. Okay, and then you lie all the way back down to your mat. Pull those knees into your chest one more time. Big squeeze, gratitude of thanks for so much juggling and practice. And then the reward of trying to do as little as possible here. Shavasana, release the arms, the legs, close the eyes if that's working for you. Let yourself just be. 2 minutes. Release. And slowly here, as you are ready, bring attention, awareness back to breath and body together. Little bit of movement. And take your time to come all the way back to a seated position. As you find your seat, bring the palms together, the thumbs to the sternum, and Anjali Mudra, the sign of intention and offering. Offer yourself the gift of doable pieces throughout the rest of your day, only occasionally adding in the difficult ones that challenge you in good ways. All right, let's sing together the last sound of Om. You're welcome to sing along or to listen. Empty out the breath. Take a deep breath in. I bow in deepest gratitude to you, to each other, and for this practice. Namaste.